Conflict. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Sarah Chen as she stood on the bridge of the UAS Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and state-of-the-art technology represented humanity's greatest achievement in space travel. As they approached the edges of known space, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary awaited them. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual energy signature," reported Lieutenant Jax, the ship's sensor officer. His dark eyes widened as he studied the readings on his holographic display. "It's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Sarah leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "Can you pinpoint its location?" Jax's fingers danced across the console. "Yes, ma'am. It's coming from a previously uncharted system about 2 light-years from our current position." "Helm, set a course," Sarah ordered, her voice calm but tinged with excitement. "Let's see what we stumbled upon." As the Horizon glided through space, the crew buzzed with anticipation. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe, and now they might finally have their answer. Days later, they entered the mysterious star system. What they found left them awestruck. A massive structure orbited the system's central star, its design clearly artificial and far beyond human capabilities. "My God," whispered Commander Elena Rodriguez, Sarah's second-in-command. It's a Dyson sphere." Sarah nodded, her mind racing with the implications. A Dyson sphere, a megastructure encapsulating an entire star, had been theoretical in human science. Yet here one stood, a testament to an alien civilization's incredible advancement. "Open a channel," Sarah commanded. "Let's try to make contact." For hours, they transmitted greetings in every format they could conceive: radio waves, light pulses, even mathematical sequences. The sphere remained silent, an enigma that both thrilled and unnerved them. Just as Sarah considered withdrawing to a safe distance to report their findings, the ship's alarms blared to life. "Multiple objects approaching at high speed," Jax shouted, his voice tinged with panic. Before Sarah could respond, a brilliant beam of energy lanced out from the sphere, striking the horizon with devastating precision. The ship shuddered violently, and warning lights flashed across every console. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah yelled, gripping her chair as the ship lurched. "Shields to maximum." The alien vessels swarmed around them, sleek and predatory. Their attacks were relentless, each blast chipping away at the Horizon's defenses. "Our shields can't take much more of this," Elena reported grimly. "We need to retreat." Sarah gritted her teeth. They were outgunned and outmaneuvered, facing an enemy they couldn't hope to match. Yet the thought of running, of leaving this discovery behind, tore at her. "Prepare for emergency FTL jump," she ordered, her voice heavy with reluctance. "But first, launch a probe. We're not leaving empty-handed." As the Horizon's engines charged for the jump, a small probe shot out from its hull, racing towards the Dyson sphere. Moments later, the human ship vanished in a flash of light, leaving behind only the echoes of battle. Back on Earth, Sarah's report sent shockwaves through the United Earth government. The existence of an advanced alien civilization, one that had reacted with immediate hostility, changed everything. Admiral Zhao, head of Earth's defense forces, paced before a gathering of world leaders. "This is a threat unlike any we've faced," he declared, his weathered face grim. "We must prepare for war." Debates raged for days. Some argued for peaceful attempts at communication, while others pushed for immediate military action. In the end, the decision was made. Earth would build up its defenses while attempting to learn more about their new adversaries. Months passed and humanity threw itself into preparation. New ships were built, weapons developed, and soldiers trained. All the while, probes and long-range sensors kept watch on the alien sphere, now dubbed the Hive by Earth's media. Sarah found herself at the forefront of these efforts, overseeing the development of new technologies based on what little they had gleaned from their brief encounter. Yet, even as she worked, a nagging doubt gnawed at her. "We're making assumptions," she confided to Elena one evening as they pored over sensor data. "We don't know why they attacked. What if we're missing something crucial?" Elena sighed, rubbing her tired eyes. "You may be right, but we can't afford to take chances, not with the fate of our entire species at stake." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Admiral Zao's face appeared on the main screen, his expression grave. "We've detected a large fleet leaving the hive," he announced without preamble. "Their trajectory suggests they're headed for Earth. We estimate they'll arrive within a month." Sarah felt her heart race. A month. After all their preparations, would it be enough? "All ships are to rendezvous at the Mars Defense Perimeter," Zhao continued. "This is not a drill. The future of humanity will be decided in the coming battle." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. She saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. They had trained for this, prepared as best they could. Now they would face the ultimate test. "You heard the Admiral," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "Let's show these aliens what humanity is made of." The Horizon, now upgraded with Earth's latest advancements, led a fleet of ships towards Mars. As they journeyed, Sarah couldn't help but wonder about the aliens they were about to face. What drove them? Why had they chosen this moment to attack? Little did she know, the answers to these questions would shake the very foundations of human understanding and test the limits of their ingenuity and courage in ways they could never have imagined. As the fleet assembled near Mars, tension hung thick in the air. The red planet loomed before them, a silent witness to the impending clash of civilizations. Sarah stood on the Horizon's bridge, surrounded by her crew, each face a mask of determination tinged with anxiety. "All ships report ready, Captain," Elena announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the vast expanse of space before them. Somewhere out there, an alien armada was approaching, intent on who knew what. The fate of Earth, of all humanity, rested on their shoulders. "Then we wait," Sarah replied, her words carrying the weight of command. "And we hope that when the time comes, we're ready for whatever they throw at us." As the hours ticked by, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation would change the course of human history forever. Whether that change would lead to triumph or tragedy remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: humanity would face its challenge as they have faced every other, with courage, ingenuity, and an unwavering will to survive. The human advantage. The Martian sky blazed with the light of 1,000 explosions as the human fleet engaged the alien armada. Captain Sarah Chen's hands gripped the arms of her command chair, her eyes darting between tactical displays and the chaotic battle unfolding beyond the Horizon's viewports. "Evasive pattern Delta." She barked as a barrage of energy beams lanced towards them. The ship lurched, narrowly avoiding the deadly assault. Lieutenant Jax's voice cut through the din of battle stations. "Captain, their weapons are tearing through our shields like they're not even there." Sarah's mind raced. The aliens' technology was beyond anything they had anticipated. Standard tactics weren't working. It was time to get creative. "Engineering, reroute all non-essential power to the shields," she ordered. "Weapons, target their propulsion systems. If we can't destroy them, we'll cripple them." As the Horizon dove back into the fray, Sarah caught glimpses of the broader battle. Human ships, despite being outgunned, were proving surprisingly resilient. What they lacked in raw power, they made up for in adaptability and unpredictable maneuvers. "Ma'am," Elena called out, her voice tinged with excitement. "Look at this." On the main screen, a squad of smaller Earth vessels swarmed one of the larger alien ships. They moved in perfect coordination, each one firing at precisely timed intervals. The alien vessel's shields flickered and failed under the synchronized assault. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "That's it," she murmured. "We may not match them one-on-one, but together." She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, form into strike groups. Coordinate your attacks. hit them hard and fast, then disperse before they can retaliate. The change in tactics sent a ripple through the battlefield. Human vessels, previously fighting desperate individual battles, began to move with newfound purpose. They darted in and out of the alien formation, striking weak points and vanishing before the enemy could respond. On the bridge of the alien flagship, Supreme Commander Zixlax watched the battle with growing frustration. His mandibles clicked in agitation as another of his ships reported critical damage. "Impossible," he hissed. "These primitives should have fallen within moments. How are they adapting so quickly?" His second-in-command, Vela, studied the tactical display with keen interest. "They're using their inferior numbers to their advantage," she observed. "Small, coordinated strikes. Our larger ships can't track them effectively." Zixlax's compound eyes narrowed. "Then we'll simply overwhelm them. Bring in the second wave." Back on the horizon, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. They were holding their own, inflicting real damage on the alien fleet. But that hope was short-lived. "Captain," Jack's alarmed voice cut through her thoughts. "Multiple new contacts emerging from FTL. It's another alien fleet." Sarah's heart sank as she saw the fresh wave of enemy ships join the battle. They had been barely holding their own against the First Fleet. How could they possibly survive this? "All ships, fall back to secondary defensive positions," she ordered, her voice tight but controlled. "We need to regroup and—" Her words were cut short as a massive explosion rocked the horizon. Alarms blared, and the bridge was plunged into darkness before emergency power kicked in. "Status report," Sarah demanded, pulling herself up from where she'd been thrown. Elena's voice came through, strained but steady. "Direct hit to our starboard section. We've lost weapons and engines are at minimal power." Sarah's mind raced. They were crippled, easy prey for the advancing alien armada. But as she looked at her crew, she saw not defeat, but determination. They weren't done yet. "All right, listen up," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We may be down, but we're not out. This ship still has a few tricks up its sleeve." She turned to her chief engineer, a brilliant but eccentric woman named Dr. Lydia Zhang. "Doc, remember that experimental phase shift technology we were working on?" Lydia's eyes widened. "Captain, it's not ready. We haven't even tested it outside the lab." "Well, no time like the present," Sarah replied grimly. "Can you get it online?" Lydia hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "It'll take some creative rewiring, but yes, I think I can." "Do it," Sarah ordered. She turned to the rest of her crew. "Everyone else, I need ideas. How do we turn this situation to our advantage?" As the crew brainstormed, Sarah watched the battle unfold on the few functioning screens. The human fleet was being pushed back, but they weren't making it easy for the aliens. Every retreat was paired with a counterstrike, every loss answered with a moment of defiance. Suddenly, Elena spoke up. "Captain, I think I have an idea. It's risky, but if Dr. Zhang can get that phase shift working." Sarah listened intently as Elena outlined her plan. It was audacious, possibly suicidal, but it just might work. More importantly, it embodied the very spirit of human ingenuity that had brought them this far. "Make it happen," Sarah said, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "Let's show these aliens what happens when they back humanity into a corner." As the crew sprang into action, Sarah opened a channel to Admiral Zhao. "Admiral, this is Captain Chen. We have a plan that might turn this battle around, but we'll need the entire fleet to pull it off." She quickly outlined the strategy, watching as Zhao's expression shifted from skepticism to cautious hope. "It's a hell of a gamble, Captain," Zhao said finally. "But at this point, we're out of options. You have the fleet's support. Good luck, to all of us." Sarah nodded, closing the channel. She looked around at her crew, each focused intently on their tasks. Despite the dire circumstances, there was an energy in the air, a sense of purpose. "All right, people," she announced. "This is where we make our stand. Not just for Earth, but for every human who's ever looked up at the stars and dreamed. We may be outgunned and outnumbered, but we've got something they don't, the indomitable human spirit. Let's make it count. As the Horizon systems slowly came back online and Lydia worked feverishly to implement the phase shift technology, Sarah felt a strange calm settle over her. Whatever happened next would define the future of humanity. Win or lose, they would face it head-on, with all the creativity, courage, and determination that had carried their species to the stars. The alien fleet loomed ever closer, their weapons charging for what they surely thought would be the final blow. But little did they know, humanity was about to unveil a surprise that would change the course of the battle, and perhaps the war itself. In the tense moments before their plan was set in motion, Sarah remembered something her old flight instructor had told her. Space is vast and unforgiving, but the human spirit is vaster still. Never forget that our greatest weapon isn't in our ships or our tech, it's in our ability to face the impossible and say, "Watch this." With a deep breath, Sarah gave the order that would kickstart their daring strategy. As the Horizon systems hummed to life in a way they never had before, she allowed herself a small, defiant smile. The aliens thought they had humanity figured out, but they were about to learn just how unpredictable humans could be when pushed to their limits. "All hands," she called out, her voice steady and resolute. "Brace for phase shift. Let's rewrite the rules of engagement." And with that, the Horizon and the human fleet prepared to execute a maneuver that would either save Earth or consign it to history. The next few moments would determine the fate of two civilizations and challenge everything both sides thought they knew about warfare among the stars. Unexpected alliances, the horizon shimmered and flickered, its outline becoming indistinct as Dr. Zhang's experimental phase shift technology engaged. Sarah held her breath, feeling the strange sensation of being both here and not here as the ship slipped partially out of normal space-time. "Phase shift stable, Captain," Lydia reported, her voice tight with concentration. "But I don't know how long I can hold it." Sarah nodded. "It doesn't need to last long, just long enough." She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships execute Operation Phantom Strike. Now." Across the battlefield, human vessels began to flicker and fade, becoming ghostly apparitions that slipped through the alien fleet's formation. Energy weapons passed harmlessly through them, while the aliens' shields offered no protection against the phase-shifted human weapons. On the alien flagship, Supreme Commander Zixlax watched in disbelief as his carefully orchestrated assault fell into chaos. "Impossible," he chittered, mandibles clacking furiously. "How are they doing this? Our sensors can't lock onto them." Vela, his second-in-command, studied the readings with intense fascination. "It appears they found a way to partially shift out of our reality," she mused. "Clever, very clever indeed." Zixlax turned to her, compound eyes flashing with anger. "I don't need your admiration, I need solutions. Find a way to counter this trickery." As the alien fleet scrambled to adapt, the human ships pressed their advantage. The Horizon, despite its damaged state, led the charge, its phase-shifted weapons tearing through alien defenses with ease. But Sarah knew they were on borrowed time. Already, she could see some of the alien ships adjusting their shields, trying to compensate for the phase shift. "We need to press harder," she muttered, then raised her voice. "All ships, focus fire on their flagship. If we can take out their command and control, we might just..." Her words were cut short as the ship suddenly lurched, alarms blaring. The phase shift flickered dangerously. "Dr. Zhang, report," Sarah called out. Lydia's voice came back, strained and worried. "The system's overloading, Captain. We can't maintain the shift much longer." Sarah gritted her teeth. They were so close, but if they lost the phase shift now, they'd be sitting ducks. Suddenly, Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, we're picking up a new signal. It's coming from inside the alien fleet." Before Sarah could respond, a new voice crackled over their comms. The language was alien, but somehow, Sarah could understand it. "Humans, Hear me, the voice said, feminine and urgent. I am Nixala of the Resistance. We've been waiting for an opportunity like this. We want to help. Sarah's mind reeled. A resistance? Among the aliens? She exchanged a quick glance with Elena, seeing her own shock mirrored in her second's eyes. This could be a trap, Elena warned quietly. Sarah nodded. Something in Nixala's voice rang true. They were out of options anyway. What kind of help can you offer, Nixala? She asked. We've infiltrated key ships in the fleet, Nixala replied. Give us a target, and we can sabotage them from within. A plan began to form in Sarah's mind. It was risky, but then again, what hadn't been in this battle? The flagship, she said decisively. Can you disable their main weapons and shields? There was a pause, then, yes, but we'll only have one chance. When you see their systems falter, strike hard and fast. Sarah took a deep breath. Understood, we'll be ready. She turned to her crew, seeing a mix of hope and trepidation on their faces. All right, people, looks like we've got some unexpected allies. Let's make this count. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. The battle raged on, human ships dancing in and out of phase while the aliens struggled to land a hit. Then suddenly, the massive alien flagship flickered, its lights dimming. That's our cue, Sarah shouted. All ships, converge on the flagship. Hit it with everything we've got. The human fleet responded instantly, a coordinated barrage of weapons fire converging on the now vulnerable alien command ship. Explosions blossomed across its hull as its weakened defenses buckled under the assault. On the alien bridge, Zixlax roared in fury and confusion. What's happening? How dare these inferiors? His rant was cut short as Vela suddenly drew a weapon, aiming it squarely at him. Your reign of terror ends now, Zixlax, she said, her voice cold. The Resistance sends its regards. Back on the horizon, Sarah watched in awe as the alien flagship began to break apart. Without central command, the rest of the fleet fell into disarray. Human vessels, Nixala's voice came through again. The fleet is in chaos. Many of the ship commanders are sympathetic to our cause. If you cease your attack, I believe we can negotiate a surrender. Sarah hesitated for just a moment, then made her decision. All ships, hold fire, she ordered. Let's see where this goes. As the weapons fell silent, Sarah couldn't quite believe what had just happened. They had come to the brink of annihilation, only to find allies among their supposed enemies. Open a channel to the alien fleet, she said, straightening her uniform. It's time we had a real conversation. Hours later, Sarah found herself in a hastily arranged conference room on Mars, facing a delegation of aliens. Nixala, a tall, elegantly shaped being with iridescent scales, stood at the forefront. We've been fighting against Zixlax's regime for years, Nixala explained. His warmongering has nearly torn our civilization apart. When we saw how you fought, how you innovated in the face of overwhelming odds, we knew you were the allies we'd been waiting for. Admiral Zeo, who had joined them, looked skeptical, and was supposed to just trust you, after all this. Nixala's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with emotion. We don't ask for blind trust, merely an opportunity. Our civilizations have much to offer each other, and she added, a note of warning in her voice, much to fear from each other, should we remain enemies. Sarah stepped forward. The choice we make here will shape the future of both our species, she said, looking from Zeo to Nixala. I, for one, vote we take this chance. We came to the stars seeking new frontiers, new knowledge. Maybe this is the greatest discovery of all, that even across the gulf of space, we can find common ground. As discussions continued late into the night, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder. They had started this day facing extinction and ended it on the brink of an interstellar alliance. It was a reminder of the incredible resilience and adaptability of not just humanity, but of life itself. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Sarah was certain of one thing. Faced with the vastness of the cosmos, it was far better to face it with friends than alone. The stars had never seemed brighter or more full of promise. The Great Deception. In the months following the dramatic battle over Mars, an uneasy peace settled between humanity and the alien civilization, now known as the Thessalian Confederation. The resistance, led by Nixala, had successfully overthrown Zixlac's warmongering regime and established a provisional government. Diplomats from Earth worked tirelessly to forge alliances and trade agreements, while scientists from both species eagerly exchanged knowledge. Captain Sarah Chen found herself at the center of these historic events. Her role in the battle and her quick decision to trust Nixala had made her a symbol of this new era of cooperation. Today, she stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a joint human-Thessalian space station orbiting Earth, watching shuttles from both species come and go. Quite a view, isn't it? Admiral Zao's voice came from behind her. Sarah turned, offering a respectful nod. "It's more than I ever imagined possible, sir." Zao's expression was unreadable. Indeed, our scientists are making leaps and bounds with Thessalian technology. The phase shift drive is already being adapted for civilian use. But, Sarah prompted, sensing the Admiral's hesitation. Zao sighed. "But not everyone is convinced this alliance is in humanity's best interests. There are concerns that we're moving too fast, sharing too much." Before Sarah could respond, her comm unit beeped. "Captain Chen, your presence is requested in conference room A. Priority message from Nixala." Excusing herself, Sarah made her way through the station's sleek corridors. She found Nixala waiting, her iridescent scales shimmering under the room's soft lighting. "Sarah," Nixala greeted her, using the human's first name, a sign of their growing friendship. "Thank you for coming so quickly. We have a situation." The Thessalian's usual composure seemed shaken. "Our long-range sensors have detected an anomaly at the edge of your solar system. We believe it may be a probe from the Vorthax Empire." Sarah's blood ran cold. The Vorthax were a name that had come up in their cultural exchanges, a ruthless, expansionist empire that the Thessalians had been fighting for generations. "Are you sure?" Sarah asked, her mind racing with implications. Nixala's multifaceted eyes clouded with worry. "Not entirely. But if it is them, your system, your entire species, could be in grave danger. The Vorthax do not negotiate. They conquer or destroy." Sarah straightened, her military training kicking in. "What do you need from us?" "We need to confirm the probe's identity without alerting it to our presence," Nixala explained. "Your phase shift technology, combined with our stealth systems, might allow us to get close enough." Hours later, Sarah found herself back on the bridge of the horizon, leading a joint human-Thessalian mission to investigate the mysterious probe. As they approached the outer reaches of the solar system, tension hung heavy in the air. Initiating phase shift, Lieutenant Jax announced, his fingers dancing across the console. The familiar shimmer enveloped the ship, but this time it was enhanced by Thessalian stealth technology. They were, for all intents and purposes, invisible. As they drew closer to the coordinates of the anomaly, Sarah felt a growing sense of unease. Something about this didn't feel right, but she couldn't put her finger on what. "Contact," Elena reported, her voice tight. It's not what we expected." On the view screen, a massive structure slowly came into view. It wasn't a probe, but a fully fledged space station, far larger and more advanced than anything humanity or even the Thessalians had built. "That's impossible," Nixala whispered, her scales paling. "The Vorthax shouldn't have this level of technology." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "We're being scanned," Jax shouted. "They've detected us somehow." Before Sarah could issue orders, the massive station began to move. Not away from them, but towards Earth. "All power to engines," Sarah commanded. "We need to warn Earth." But as the horizon turned to race back towards home, Sarah's tactical display lit up with new contacts. Dozens, then hundreds of ships were emerging from hidden docks in the station. This isn't a probe, Sarah realized with growing horror. It's an invasion fleet. As they desperately tried to outrun the advancing armada, a transmission cut through their comms. The language was alien, but thanks to their translation software, Sarah could understand the chilling message. Attention, primitive species, your deception has been noted. Your alliance with the Ixalian rebels ends now. Surrender your world or face extinction. Sarah turned to Nixala, confusion and betrayal warring in her eyes. Rebels? What are they talking about? Nixala's form seemed to shrink, her earlier confidence evaporating. I'm sorry, Sarah. We never meant for it to come to this. As the full weight of the deception crashed down upon her, Sarah felt as though the deck was falling away beneath her feet. The peace, the alliance, the shared dreams of a brighter future. Had it all been a lie? With Earth in imminent danger and their supposed allies revealed as something far more complex and potentially dangerous, Sarah realized that the true battle for humanity's survival was only just beginning. And this time, they might truly be facing it alone. Battle stations, she ordered, her voice hard as steel. And someone get me a secure line to Admiral Zao. We need to prepare Earth for war. As the horizon raced back towards Earth, outpacing the lumbering invasion fleet, but not by much, Sarah's mind whirled with questions and half-formed plans. Whatever the truth behind this deception, one thing was clear: humanity would need every ounce of ingenuity and courage they possessed to survive the coming storm. The stars, once full of promise, now seemed to glitter with malice. But Sarah Chen, like humanity itself, was not one to go down without a fight. As Earth grew larger in their viewscreen, she steeled herself for the challenges ahead. The greatest test of human resilience was about to begin. Turning the tides. The next few days passed in a blur of frantic activity. As soon as the horizon entered Earth's communication range, Sarah had relayed the dire news to Admiral Zao and the United Earth government. The response was swift and decisive, full planetary mobilization. Now, standing in the war room deep beneath Geneva, Sarah watched as holographic displays showed the approaching Vorthax fleet. Beside her, Admiral Zao's face was grim. "How long?" Sarah asked, her voice low. 48 hours at most," Jay replied. "We're evacuating as many civilians to underground shelters as we can, but," he trailed off, the unspoken truth hanging heavy in the air. There was no way to save everyone. Sarah's gaze shifted to where Nixala stood, guarded by human security personnel. The Axalian's once proud posture was now hunched, her scales a dull gray. "I think it's time you told us the whole truth," Sarah said, her tone leaving no room for evasion. Nixala raised her multifaceted eyes, filled with a mixture of shame and defiance. "The Vorthax, they're not just our enemies, they're our creators." A murmur ran through the assembled human leaders. "Centuries ago, the Vorthax created our species as a servant race," Nixala continued. "We were designed to be the perfect infiltrators and advanced scouts for their empire. But some of us evolved, gained independence. We rebelled." "And Earth?" Jao demanded. "Where do we fit into this?" "You were to be our shield," Nixala admitted. "We hoped that by allying with you, by helping you advance, we could create a buffer between us and the Vorthax. We never meant for them to find you so soon." Sarah felt a complex mixture of emotions: anger at the deception, pity for the Xalian's plight, and a grim determination to protect her home. "Well," she said finally, intentions aside, "we're all in this together now. The question is, how do we stop them?" For hours they debated strategies and pored over what little intelligence they had on the Vorthax. The enemy's technology was centuries beyond Earth's, even with the recent Xalian upgrades. A direct confrontation would be suicide. As the discussion seemed to circle endlessly, Dr. Lydia Zhang, who had been quietly working in a corner, suddenly spoke up. "What if we could turn their own technology against them?" she proposed, her eyes bright with that manic gleam that always preceded her most brilliant and dangerous ideas. All eyes turned to her as she continued, "The phase shift drive. We've been using it defensively to evade, but what if we weaponized it?" "Go on," Sarah encouraged, feeling a glimmer of hope for the first time since the deception was revealed. Lydia's fingers flew over her tablet as she explained, "If we could create a large-scale phase shift field and extend it around the Vorthax fleet, we could potentially shift them partially out of our reality." "And then what?" Joe asked, leaning forward with interest. "And then we bring them back," Lydia said, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "But not all at once. The energy differential would tear their ships apart." A stunned silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. It was audacious, borderline insane, and exactly the kind of unconventional thinking they needed. "It would require an enormous amount of energy," Nixala pointed out, "more than your entire planet could generate." Sarah's mind raced, piecing together a plan. "What if we use the sun?" she proposed. "A massive solar collector, combined with every power plant on Earth." Zhao nodded slowly. "It could work. But we'd need a way to deliver the phase shift field to the enemy fleet." "A sacrifice play," Sarah said quietly, meeting the Admiral's eyes. They both knew what it meant. As the details of the plan came together, a somber mood settled over the war room. This was humanity's best hope, perhaps their only hope, but it came at a terrible price. Hours later, Sarah stood on the bridge of the horizon once more. The ship had been hastily retrofitted with an experimental phase shift projector, powerful enough to envelop the entire Vorthax fleet. But to get close enough to use it, they would have to fly directly into the heart of the enemy armada. "All systems ready, Captain," Elena reported, her voice steady despite the weight of their mission. Sarah took a deep breath, looking at each member of her crew. They all knew this was likely a one-way trip, yet they stood at their posts without hesitation. "It has been my greatest honor to serve with each of you," Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion. "Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for the right of all species to choose their own destiny. Whatever happens, know that our actions here will echo through history." As the horizon lifted off, joined by a small escort of Earth's bravest pilots, Sarah felt a strange calm settled over her. They were outgunned and outnumbered, facing an enemy of unimaginable power. But they had surprise on their side and the desperate creativity that had defined humanity's greatest moments. The Vorthax fleet loomed ahead, a vast armada of sleek, predatory ships that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. As they approached, the first shots were fired, energy beams lancing out towards Earth's meager defenses. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah ordered calmly. "All ships, remember the plan. Keep them focused on us." The battle erupted in earnest, a desperate dance of ships weaving through a storm of weapons fire. Earth vessels fell one by one, each loss a stab of pain in Sarah's heart. But they had succeeded in their primary goal. The Vorthax were fully engaged, their attention diverted from the real threat. "We're in position," Jax reported, his consoles sparking from a glancing hit. Sarah nodded grimly. "Dr. Zhang, it's time. Initiate the phase shift." As Lydia activated the experimental device, Sarah opened a channel to Earth. "Now, Admiral, give them hell." Across the solar system, massive solar collectors unfurled, drinking in the sun's energy. On Earth, every power plant spun up to maximum output. The combined energy was funneled through advanced Avsarlian technology, amplified and focused into a single reality-warping beam. The horizon shuddered as the phase shift field expanded, enveloping the Vorthax fleet. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in perfect silent suspension. Then, with a flash that outshone the sun itself, the trap was sprung. The Vorthax ships flickered and distorted, caught between realities. As they were yanked back into normal space, the energy differential tore through their fleet like a cosmic storm. On the horizon's fading bridge, Sarah watched in awe as the seemingly invincible armada began to break apart. Ships twisted and shattered, their impossibly advanced technology no match for the fundamental laws of physics they had sought to break. As warnings blared and systems failed around her, Sarah felt no fear, only a profound sense of accomplishment. They had done it. Earth was safe. "It's been an honor," she said softly to her crew, as the Horizon's hull began to buckle under the strain. In her final moments, as the ship disintegrated around her, Sarah Chen smiled. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. Humanity had proven once again that their greatest strength lay not in technology or numbers, but in the indomitable spirit that had carried them to the stars. The light engulfed her, and Sarah Chen, along with her brave crew, passed into legend. A new understanding. The aftermath of the battle was a mixture of jubilation and somber reflection. Earth had survived, but at a great cost. Memorial services were held across the planet for the brave souls who had sacrificed everything to save humanity. Captain Sarah Chen and the crew of the Horizon were hailed as heroes, their names etched into history. In the months that followed, humanity began the arduous task of rebuilding and coming to terms with their new reality. The remains of the Vorthax fleet were studied extensively, yielding technological insights that would advance Earth's scientific knowledge by centuries. But perhaps the most significant change came in humanity's relationship with the Ixalians. The deception had been revealed, trust had been broken, but in the crucible of battle, a new understanding had been forged. 1 year after the battle, a historic summit was held on Harmony Station. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now captain of the newly christened UES Horizon U, stood beside Admiral Zhao as they prepared to meet with the Ixalian delegation. "Are you ready for this?" Zhao asked, his expression solemn. Elena nodded, her hand unconsciously touching the captain's insignia on her uniform. Sarah would have wanted us to move forward, to build something lasting from her sacrifice. As the airlock cycled open, Nixala stepped through, flanked by other Ixalian representatives. The atmosphere was tense, laden with the weight of past betrayals and shared struggles. Admiral Zhao stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth, I welcome you. We have much to discuss." Nixala bowed her head. "Indeed we do. We come not as deceivers this time, but as supplicants. Our actions put your world at risk, and yet you fought not just for yourselves, but for us as well. We owe you a debt that can never be fully repaid." Elena spoke up, her voice firm, but not unkind. "The past cannot be changed, but the future is unwritten. We've all learned harsh lessons about trust and the consequences of our actions. Perhaps now we can build a true alliance, one based on honesty and mutual respect." The negotiations that followed were long and often difficult. Trust, once broken, was not easily mended, but slowly, steadily, a new framework for cooperation began to emerge. The Ixalians shared the full extent of their knowledge about the Vorthax Empire, including the locations of other subjugated worlds. Earth, in turn, committed to helping liberate these planets, seeing in their struggle a reflection of their own recent battle for survival. As the talks progressed, Dr. Lydia Zhang made a breakthrough that would change everything. Studying the phase-shift technology that had saved Earth, she discovered a way to detect and track Vorthax ships across vast distances. "We can see them coming now," she explained to the assembled leaders, her eyes bright with excitement. "More than that, we might be able to disrupt their faster-than-light travel. We could cripple their ability to expand their empire." The implications were staggering. With this technology, the balance of power in the galaxy could shift dramatically. As the summit drew to a close, a new interstellar alliance was formed. The United Galactic Concordat, as it came to be known, would stand as a bulwark against Vorthax aggression and a beacon of hope for oppressed species across the stars. 5 years later, Elena stood on the bridge of the Horizon E, leading a joint human-Ixalian fleet on a mission to liberate a distant world from Vorthax control. As she gave the order to engage, she thought of Sarah Chen and all those who had sacrificed so much to make this moment possible. "Captain," her tactical officer called out, "we're picking up a distress signal. It's It's from a Vorfax ship. Elena's eyebrows rose in surprise. This was unprecedented. On screen, she ordered. The image that appeared showed a Vorfax bridge in chaos, alarms blaring. The alien commander, an imposing figure with multiple limbs and eyes, looked directly at the camera. To any who received this, the translation came through, "We seek asylum. Our world, our empire, is tearing itself apart. The subjugated races are rising up, inspired by tales of Earth's defiance. We cannot hold them back. Please, help us." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. Elena felt the weight of history on her shoulders. The choice she made now would shape the future of not just humanity, but countless species across the galaxy. She thought of Sarah, of the lessons learned about trust and deception, about the power of compassion, even in the face of past enmity. With a deep breath, she made her decision. "Prepare a boarding party," she ordered. "Medical and diplomatic personnel only. Let's show them what humanity truly stands for." As the Horizon moved to render aid to their former enemies, Elena couldn't help but smile. They had come so far from that desperate battle over Earth, yet in many ways, they were still the same, still reaching out into the unknown, still striving to understand and connect with the vastness of the cosmos. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a realm of terror and conflict, but a canvas of infinite possibility. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had learned that true strength lay not in domination, but in unity, in the ability to forge connections across the gulf of space and difference. As Elena prepared to meet the Vorfax refugees, she felt a sense of profound optimism. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, a united front of diverse species bound by shared hopes and dreams. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.